Welcome to Seacoast Real Estate Academy. In today's video, we'll cover the second half of key terms that you find in Unit 2. Limited common elements. Common elements of a condominium project reserved for the exclusive use of one or more units, such as parking spaces or storage areas. Littoral Rights. A landowner's claim to use water in large navigable lakes and oceans adjacent to the property. The ownership rights to land bordering these bodies of water up to the average high water mark. Manufactured home. A dwelling, also known as a mobile home or house trailer, built under HUD regulations with a permanent chassis. It is considered personal property until the moving hitch, wheels, and axles are removed. The unit is attached to a permanent foundation on land owned by the owner of the manufactured home, and an affidavit attesting to these actions has been filed with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Marital life estate. North Carolina law permits that when someone dies without a will, or dies with a will disinheriting a spouse or leaving him or her very little, that the surviving spouse may choose an elective share of the estate instead. Modular home. A dwelling consisting of a series of rooms or units built off-site according to the North Carolina State Building Code. Is considered real property as soon as it is assembled on the land. May be multi-storied. Non-Freehold estate or Leasehold estate. A tenant's right to occupy real estate during the term of a lease, generally considered a personal property interest. North Carolina Condominium Act of 1986. The North Carolina Condominium Act of 1986 specifies that a condominium is created and established when the developer of the property executes and records a declaration of its creation in the county where the property is located. The declaration must include any covenants, conditions, or restrictions on the use of the property. Other requirements include disclosure and other consumer protection measures in connection with new residential condominium unit sales. The North Carolina Uniform Commercial Code, UCC. A North Carolina statute which may protect the buyers from a seller's unpaid debts. However, if a homeowner purchases an item on credit and gives the creditor a security agreement, that item remains personal property and may be removed by the creditor in the event of default. Probate. A legal process by which a court determines who will inherit a descendant's property and what the estate's assets are. Proprietary Lease. A lease given by the corporation that owns a cooperative apartment building to the shareholder for the shareholder's right as a tenant to an individual apartment. Pur Autra Vie. For the life of another. A life estate, Pur Autra Vie, is a life estate that is measured by the life of a person other than the grantee. Reliction. Gradual recession of water which uncovers land that usually belongs to the riparian owner. Remainder Interest. A future interest in real estate created by the grantor for some third party that will be enjoyed after the termination of a prior estate, such as when an owner conveys a life estate to one party and the remainder to another. Remainderman. One entitled to receive a remainder interest in some estate sometime in the future. Reversionary Interest. a future estate that the grantor holds while granting a life estate to another person. Right of survivorship. Makes the surviving owner in severalty immediately upon the death of the other. The default in North Carolina for married couples. Riparian Rights. An owner's rights in land that borders on or includes a stream, river, or lake. These rights include access to and use of water. Severalty. The ownership of real property by only one person or entity, also called sole ownership. Subjacent Support. The support of the surface of land by the land's subsurface. Duty of the owner of subsurface rights to support the surface of the land. Subsurface rights. Ownership rights in a parcel of real estate to the water, minerals, gas, oil, and so forth that lie beneath the surface of the property. Surface rights. Ownership rights in a parcel of real estate that are limited to the surface of the property and do not include the air above it or the minerals below the surface. Tenancy by the entirety. A concurrent form of ownership reserved for property owned by spouses. Right of survivorship is mandatory, making the surviving spouse owner in severalty immediately upon the death of a spouse. Tenancy in common. A concurrent form of ownership in which each owner holds an undivided interest in the real property. Ownership interests can be unequal, and the right of survivorship is not allowed. Timeshare ownership. Any right to occupy a unit of real property during 5 or more separated time periods over a period of at least 5 years. Total circumstances test. A method used by judges to determine whether an item is a fixture or personal property. Townhouse ownership. A hybrid form of ownership where the owner holds fee title to their unit and the ground beneath. Horizontal ownership. Frequent use of party walls, row houses. Common areas are usually owned and maintained with other unit owners through a homeowners association. Trade fixture. An article installed by a tenant under the terms of a lease and removable by the tenant before the lease expires. Trust. A fiduciary arrangement whereby property is conveyed to a person or an institution, called a trustee, to be held and administered on behalf of another person, called a beneficiary. The one who conveys the trust is called the trustor. Waste. An improper use or abuse of a property by a possessor who holds less than fee ownership, such as a tenant, life tenant, mortgagor, or vendee. Such waste ordinarily impairs the value of the land or the interests of the person holding the title or the reversionary rights. If you like this video, feel free to share it with a friend. For more real estate education content, please subscribe to the channel. From all of us at Seacoast Real Estate Academy, thank you for watching.